Hey friends, welcome to Perceptual Aware. This is a dedicated platform exploring ideas, people, and things that make our lives for the better. In this series, we've been looking at Team CBT. In this episode, we're looking at fractal psychology through the eyes of David Burns' feeling good/great, and the consistency of our negative self-talk. And by recognizing the fractal patterns of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we can interrupt the cycle of self-criticism and begin the process of change. Now first, a disclaimer. First and foremost, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm just looking to share what I have learned. So don't take this as a professional advice and don't do anything dumb based on what I have said. So let's get started. What is a fractal? Well, the concept of a fractal has been used to understand complex natural phenomena like the branching pattern of trees, the structure of coastlines, and the shape of our clouds. However, fractals can also be applied to human psychology. How, you might ask? Well, specifically in the way that we beat ourselves up. So what's the theory and the idea here? Think about fractal psychology proposes that we criticise ourselves consistently across time, meaning the way, and I love the quote, that we beat ourselves up on Monday is the same way that we'll beat ourselves up on Thursday. And this consistency is due to fractal patterns in our thoughts or emotions and behaviours. Fractal patterns, think about them as described as they repeat themselves on different scales, and this repetition can be observed in the way that we criticise ourselves consistently on, I'm not good enough, I wish I had done that, I should have done that, should, or I could have, wish have, or guilt and blame. So the thesis of this is really driven by the recognising the understanding of these fractal patterns, and we can break the negative cycle of self-criticism. So becoming aware of this is probably the first thing, in our self-talk. We can interrupt the pattern and then change the way that we think and then how we feel about ourselves. The idea here is that our thoughts really dictate how we feel, and you can change the way you feel by changing the way you think. Now, there is an opposite view, like the idea that our self-talk isn't consistent over time, and that we may be capable and change what we think about ourselves more easily than fractal patterns would even suggest. This idea is supported by the notion of neuroplasticity, right? So you could say that it suggests the brain is capable of rewiring in response to new experiences and learning all of the time. So how can we be repeating the old patterns? I think it's probably a combination of these two things, isn't it, right? Neuroplasticity might provide evidence of the possibility of change, and fractal psychology said that change is not always immediate and it's not always as easy as first made out. So fractal patterns and not only our thoughts, behaviours may be deeply ingrained and difficult to break at times, but by recognising these patterns and interrupting them, then we can begin the process of change. And I think the predictive power of fractal psychology lies in the idea, by recognising these patterns, that we can predict in the way and that we'll react to certain situations, and then work to change on those reactions over time. I hope this discussion has provided insights into the power of recognising and understanding fractal patterns in our lives. Please stay tuned for more content in the intersection of psychology and technology from Perceptual Aware, and be sure to subscribe and hit like. In this movie, in this film,